Ah! Hello everyone, thanks for joining us. I'm Aaron. Today we're going to be doing a Bolt-M install on an Ares Striker. The tools you will need are the two included Allen keys that come with the Striker, a flathead, a Phillips head, a file, a torch, or a Dremel in our case. That is going to be used to grind down and make routes for the airline. So what the first step is going to be is we're going to remove the receiver from the stock. It's going to be this screw and this screw. Trigger guard is going to pop right off. So using the larger of the two Allen keys, go ahead and remove the rear Allen screw first. And just go ahead, lift that out and pull the trigger guard kind of up into the front of the gun. It should pop right off. And this screw, and that's all it takes to remove the actual receiver from the stock. And it should, once that's out, lift right off. So now you just have your receiver. Removal of the bolt is super simple. It is this pin right here that's holding everything in. So you can either just push it out, like so, and then pull. So next step is going to be actually removing the bolt and then installing the engine inside. So now that that pin's out, you can go ahead and remove the bolt. Simply lift up, pull back. That'll come straight out. You can place your receiver off to the side for now. So to loosen the cylinder head, take an Allen key, start loosening. And then once it's partially done, you can go ahead and finish it off by hand. But that spring will be under pressure, so you should be ready for it. Go ahead and get rid of the internals. You can keep them in case you want to revert the rifle back to spring. However, I know for a fact that the HPA performance will be better. So now that we have that, I'm going to go ahead and open up the Wolverine packaging and show you everything that comes with it, and we can go ahead and install the engine. So what comes in the kit is the actual engine, your airline and fitting, your cylinder head, and your airline to air tank fitting. So now you have all that out, we'll go ahead and install it into the cylinder. So you want to find the left side of the cylinder, which is going to be left of the notch, and find the hole in the engine. Make sure that's lined up and just slide that on in and make sure that hole stays lined up. From there, you're going to screw on your cylinder head. Make sure it is tightened in by doing the Allen key trick. And then from there, we're going to set that aside and move all the rest of the side so we can do our trigger modification to make the bolt a lot easier to install. So to make the bolt a lot easier to install, we're going to go ahead and open the trigger box, which is these three screws. Go ahead and gently lift the top of the trigger box off. Sometimes the sears like to pop out. They're really easy to put back in. You don't need to worry about it. So go ahead and remove your trigger. Find the trigger spring. Go ahead and grab that. And all we're going to do is push down on this piece to remove, and that'll pop out. This you can put back in and later if you really want. This makes everything easier though, just to remove it. So go ahead and reinstall your sears properly. Pull it down on that spring, drop the pin in, and that's done. So you can go ahead and reassemble the trigger box, drop your trigger in, and then put the trigger spring in. So So what I do sometimes is I actually add material to the bottom of the trigger right here to shorten trigger pull and make it more consistent on the release. But we're gonna go ahead, skip that part today, and just reinstall the top of the trigger box, put the screws back in. So now we're gonna go ahead and install the fitting. So flip the rifle over, take your fitting. I usually take a little bit of lube, put it on the actual sealing O-rings, which are these two. This O-ring is just to hold it in. Find your hole, make sure everything's still lined up, and it should just push right in. We need to go on the other side, make sure everything's lining up, just like that. And then you can sometimes push it in with your hand, but sometimes you just need to use a little bit of force to kind of push it through. Don't hit it too hard, you can actually break O-rings, but little taps to get it seated in place is okay. So from here, I'm gonna go ahead and drill out the stock, and then we'll move on to removal of the barrel. All right, so now we're gonna actually drill and route the airline through the stock. There are a few ways to do this, it's all personal preference. I actually like to Dremel out right here, drill back through here, and then drill one hole in the bottom of the grip. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that off camera just because it's easy and it's a messy process. However, you can also use files, you can use drills, or I've even seen some people heat up screwdrivers and melt the plastic that way, so it's a little cleaner. But I'm gonna go ahead and do all that right now. We'll be right back. So now that the stock is all drilled out, we can actually go ahead and reassemble the rifle, unless you want to replace the barrel. I'll actually show you how to remove the barrel and hop-up assembly right now, but if you don't want to change that or it's already upgraded, you can go ahead, skip to the end of the video, and watch the full reassembly. So barrel remove is really easy. All you have to do is take off the bipod lug by spinning it left. Don't go right, or you could actually risk snapping it off inside the outer barrel. Once that's out, you can remove the handguard by pushing forward and then lifting up. The next thing we're going to do is take our flathead and remove the feed tube. Just be real careful, you don't want to damage it. Once that is out, you can lift it out just like that. And last, the top hop-up screw. Just back it off enough so that it's not engaged at all, but you don't have to remove it if you don't want to. And then from there, go ahead, start unscrewing the barrel. And once this is off, you can get to your inner barrel and hop up. There's nothing else holding it in, it's just retention. So you can go ahead, wiggle, and pull. And that's it. So from here, you can install a new barrel, new hop-up, new bucking, whatever you like. The Action Army hop-ups are really, really nice, and that's what we recommend. The stock hop-up units work, but they can be a little inconsistent because the plastic can flex just a little bit. So I'm not gonna upgrade this today. However, we can do that in another video. But as far as reassembly, we'll work on that now. So basically go back in, slide the hop-up in, make sure everything is straight. There is an indent on the hop-up, so it won't insert fully unless it's properly oriented. And then just screw back on the outer barrel. So there is an arrow on the outside of the outer barrel. It's going to be on the top. So you just want to line that up the best you can with the top. Make sure it's not going too far in, otherwise you can damage stuff, such as the bipod lug. But once that's done, let's go ahead, reinstall the feed tube. Just drop it in place and tighten that back in. Then we're going to reinstall the handguard. All it is, drops into place and then pushes back. Reinstall the bipod lug. all you have to do is tighten down your hop-up screw, and then you are ready to reassemble the receiver into the stock. Alright, so what we're going to do now, go ahead, remove the bottom cap off the stock, route the airline through the holes that we just made. And we're going to make sure when we drop everything in, that airline does not get crimped in any way. Because the last thing you want right now is this thing to leak after you've been installing everything. It's a lot easier than I'm making it look, I promise. So once that's in, most of the slack is pulled out of the airline. It should just go into the stock pretty seamlessly. And now we're just going to screw everything together. So go ahead, grab your trigger guard, install it front first. Just like that. Throw the screws in, rear one first. Usually makes life a little easier. And then make sure everything looks lined up. If the screws don't go in super easily, be careful, you might have assembled something wrong. And once that is together, all you have to do is reinstall the grip cap. And your install is complete. So grab your air, test everything, and then we can put some shots through it. So now that the rifle is assembled, we're gonna go ahead and take a few test shots. We have it left up to about 120 PSI, and we have HPA 4.5s in it. So to show that this gun can actually hit field limits, you know, 3.5 joules, we're gonna go ahead and chrono it. So I have my chrono all set up for 4.5s. Throw one each. So 2 consistent shots, both 363 at about 120. This engine can go a lot higher, and this is a stock barrel, stock hop-up bucking. So hitting 3.5 or even higher is very, very possible. We've been really impressed with this product since its release. I've built many of these rifles, and I stand behind them. So if you want to see more videos like this, let us know. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy your Bolt-M Striker.